me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
We give people the opportunity to live their best lives and be their best selves. We share stories. We create memories for people to pass along to the next generation. If you are a young professional that are looking for something to fulfill yourself, to fill your cup on a daily basis, this field, Parks, Recreation, and Community Services, is really where you need to be.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series. In this episode, we welcome back a true pillar of the profession, Johnathan Skinner, a director whose career spans decades of impact, innovation, and heart. From transforming senior lives through community, fitness, and belonging, to inspiring his team to tell authentic stories with creativity and joy. Johnathan shows what leadership looks like when service becomes your calling. We talk about building culture, empowering young professionals, embracing new tools like AI, and shaping a media landscape that finally gives Parks and Recreation the microphone it deserves. This episode dives into the next chapter of what it means to elevate our field together. Let's dive in.
All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc, the doorman with the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series, and I have my guest of honor. You were the first third-time guest on the show. You were episode number 116, and then 282 at the NRPA convention, and this is episode 305. And so, welcoming Johnathan Papa John Skinner, all the way from the West Coast, California, to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Craig. It's great to be on again. I feel like it's Saturday Night Live. They have so many shows, then they get a jacket. So then I'm waiting for my my daily Parks and Rec jacket that I can put on.
So I'm a big coffee mug.
There you go.
Collector, so I'm going to make one for the Daily Parks and Rec Show, and then I'm going to start sending it to people like you that are regulars on the show, so that way we can both have our DPRS Media Co. coffee mug. And,
that sounds awesome. I'm excited to be here, and I love the work that you and the team do. So this is great.
Well, here's our latest. So Chris, one of our talented video editors, and he's the creator of the Why Parks and Rec Should Be an Essential Service. He made that for us. And he recently put together this 300th episode. Thank you to everyone. So thank you to Johnathan for helping us to kind of, create what we're doing. And so I'll play this. And then I'm also going to play, we recently opened up to strategic partnerships with other vendors to help us create this ESPN of Parks and Rec media company that Parks and Rec can call home. So I'll play those two back to back, and I'd love to get your feedback on both of those. And then we'll come back and start the conversation with you.
Sounds good.
"300 episodes. What started as a small idea, a way to share stories from the Parks and Recreation community, has grown into something truly special. From heartfelt conversations to behind-the-scenes stories that celebrate everyday heroes. Every episode, every message, every listen has been powered by you. To our loyal listeners, our partners, and every Parks and Rec professional who continues to inspire us, thank you. You've helped us grow, you've helped us evolve, and you've reminded us why we do this, to tell stories that matter. This milestone isn't just ours, it's yours too. As we celebrate our 300th episode, we look ahead to the next chapter. More stories, more community, more impact. From all of us here at DPRS Media Company, thank you for believing in us, for tuning in, and for helping us make it this far. Here's to the next 300 episodes and beyond.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co, we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right. So what'd you think of our 300th episode? Thank you.
I'm crying into no, just kidding. I think it's pretty amazing, and to see where things started and where they're at now. I mean, over 300 episodes is pretty incredible. Before we got on, we were talking about media and everything like that, and how to grow the ESPN of Parks and Recreation. I love that. I remember going on Reckless with Shane and Tom and Jay, and
the
where they
OG.
started at the OGs. And you know what? Their show has reached so many people, and they actually do a fundraiser to help send students, YPNs to NRPA. And the reach that has is pretty amazing. They're on season like 29,000 or something like that. And I was very honored and blessed to be part of their show. And I love you got to get a shirt like they have a shirt that we purchase every time we go to NRPA. Yeah, and so they have a Wives of NRPA. My wife has that shirt. Has that shirt. So we wear it very proudly. But the things that you're able to do here, and I remember when we first met, and I can't remember who it was who said, "Listen, there's a guy named Craig who wants to give you a call. He wants to be on a podcast." I'm like, "Okay, I don't know him," and okay. So we had a conversation. I felt really comfortable, and then what that grew into is this media company that has different sections for different parts of our field. It's not a one-stop shop. You're able to see different kind of things. And one of the things that you're doing as well is giving individuals an opportunity to host different things where, they have that expertise. You have a lot of expertise. You're a global, and there's very niche. I say niche, but niche that individuals can do, that they can go to and say, "Hey, I need to have a place where I can go and find more on park maintenance or specifics on youth sports and those kind of things." And when you have those kind of opportunities, it helps to grow and nurture not only the up and comers, but also giving people like myself a chance to share information. Not that I have all the information, don't want to say that, but I have information that maybe can help somebody get to that next step where they need to go as far as their field.
Yeah, it's something we had last week. So up till now, of the 300 episodes, I think I've recorded maybe 280 of them. And I had our first additional host, Aaron Lux, who has been hosting the Youth Sports Mastery every Thursday, I think, for most of the year. And so it was just me just trying to launch this thing. And then Aaron came in and threw on another 20-ish, 30-ish episodes on top. And then last week we met with Dave Ramirez with Outdoor Link, and he's helping us launch, and Outdoor Link is providing funding. to help launch a smart city show in Parks and Rec. So that'll be launching. And then we have Jordan Ziff, who is a professional soccer player. They started something called Her Sports. We're doing something with them to create something on females active in sports. And she's going and they've got a great concept. So her concept is get in the bus, get in the car with the athletes on the way to their game, on the way to their practice, and give kind of like a behind the scenes backstage of how a pro athlete female prepares for her game, her practice, or whatever. And so I was like, absolutely, we're helping them to produce that. So that's going to be a regular show. And then announcement this Monday, we got our first intern, Michael Moreau, who is an intern, a college student in marketing and broadcast journalism outside of in Pennsylvania. So he actually helped me twice this week, and he is now in charge and the host for our Young Professionals Network. That's that every Friday show. So now there's 5 daily Parks and Rec show DPRS Media Company hosts going to be churning out content, and we have like 3 or 4 other interns that we're talking to. So I'm hoping by the time we get to Philadelphia, we may have as many as 10 hosts, a dozen shows. That's going to be what our year 2 looks like. From Atlanta to Orlando was 300 episodes, and then from Orlando to Pennsylvania, we're hoping to cross like the 700 episodes. We should be able to.
I'm thinking 1,000. I'm thinking 1,000.
I think we can hit 1,000. Well, just so I know everyone saw how when you came on episode 282, these were like 15, 20-minute short interviews live from the NRPA convention. Well, now we've had departments, state associations reach out to us and say, hey, everything you did in Orlando, come do it in Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, which is week 1, 2, and 3 of November. Just in November, we'll record 100 episodes in that format. So,
like I said, 1,000 is not hard to do. I just have to say this, Craig. Right now, we're doing this live, and on my other screen, somebody had posted Jovi. Thank you, Jovi. She has it up on her screen, our show live. So I'm watching us watching us.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. No, but I think that's great, and that just shows the reach that that your show, and like Datis has a buddy of mine has a show as well. But these shows, these podcasts have a way to reach and connect with people. You know, a while ago you sent me a song. You remember the song?
Yes. Yeah.
Where's the song? I shared it with my team. Dude, I love the song. It's really good. It makes you think, it makes you laugh, it makes you appreciate what we do. And I don't know, have you premiered it yet or anything?
Not yet. So I have a buddy of mine. He actually works out with me on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. There's a group of men that meet at 5, 6, and 7 a.m. 35,000 of us nationwide in almost every city in America, where you've got fools that will show up at 6 a.m. and do like peer-led push-ups, planks, all this kind of stuff. And a guy from North Carolina in Parks and Rec said, Craig, you need to look into this F3 group. They're working out nearly every day across America on Parks and Rec real estate. And so it's one of these, what do they call that? Pop-up events that just randomly show up and do yoga on or working out. And so I was like, this would be a good use case for parkland that parks are facilitating just by maintaining the beautiful green space. And then you've got right now 35,000 men that are using the park space to just work out and stuff. And so he was actually big into AI. He's a banker actually, but he's a musician. He's got musicians in the family, and he uses AI to just create songs. And I'm like, can you look at a bunch of our episodes and make us a song? And so he's big into hard rock. And so that's what he made. And I sent it to you and just a handful of others. I'm like, what do you think about this? I haven't.
No, what did everybody else say?
I've only sent it to you and 3 other people, and they loved it. They were like, oh, this is so fun. And I'm like, we could make like a country song. We could make blues, whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't think we had this discussion, but so NRPA, about 2 years ago, reached out to various people about doing basically sessions online, right? And I said, hey, we can do something here in Lake Elsinore with Giovanni Worked. I mentioned Giovanni before. He comes from national TV, Spanish TV, but he works for us. He's our special events manager. And we did one on telling your story, telling a message, taking a problem situation and making it positive, right? And so we have a photographer, a videographer that we use, John Hess. And while we were filming this here in the Lake Community Center, John's assistant goes, hey, listen, I have this AI thing that I want to try with you and Giovanni. And I want to make a song. I'm like, we said, okay. So he's Mexican and I'm Black. And so we call ourselves chocolate and mocha.
Yeah. Chocolate mocha.
No, chocolate. Yeah. And so he actually made a song, and what I will do is I'll send it to you. I don't have it up right now. And it was about, and they asked questions. Okay, what are you guys doing? NRPA, the 5 W's. I always talk about the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why. And it put this 30-second song together. It is incredibly awesome. I play it from time to time at sessions that I do and everything. So AI is pretty amazing, but you can also see the negativeness of AI, especially today with the way the world is people use it as a negative. And so it has to be, to me, it has to be tempered to make sure that it's being used, directly. Tom Venero, we were talking on Reckless, and he was talking about how, I believe it was Tom, he was talking about how he utilizes AI to help do evaluations of programs and those kind of things, which I think is absolutely great, because with so many programs that we have and being able to evaluate them and everything like that takes a lot of time, but AI can help assist with that. But again, the negativeness that you can see, it's definitely has to be tempered, and there should be some kind of regulations on it to make sure that it's used positively.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just like a powerful tool in the hands of the master. What are you painting? So you can paint something that maybe is destructive, or you can paint something that highlights the beauty of something that you're painting. And so AI just it's just like a very powerful brush that the master can paint with. So it's kind of a reflection of whose hands it's in. And so we just want to make sure that the right people are using this tool to benefit, the community. And maybe we can think about the analogy of the Latin culture. And so if we've got Parks and Rec culture, and then we're looking at Latin culture. So let's say you're doing like a special event for the Latin culture. You've got clothes, their music, their food, and you can kind of express their culture that way. And so Parks and Rec also has culture. And so it's, how do we capture that culture? How do we tell their story using the modern AI tools, social media tools? And this is where I watch the way you tell stories about Parks and Rec, both locally, but you're also capturing kind of the spirit of Parks and Rec globally and nationally. And you're one of the few directors that I've seen that has just taken the tools that we have at our disposal and said, well, we're going to create fun stuff to tell people what's going on in Lake Elsinore. And so that's why I was like, I'd love to just sit and brainstorm about how do we use this new tool that we're creating in the Daily Parks and Rec show, creating that ESPN style media company to tell the story of Parks and Rec. So kind of what was your journey on creating content and putting it out there? What kind of inspired you to do that?
Well, honestly, it probably started even way before this whole technology thing was. That's a problem that we have in Parks and Recreation and a lot of things that personally is we don't have an opportunity. We don't take the time to tell our story. So back in the day when I was working in Agoura Hills, which is also in California, there was a local newspaper that reached out to me and said, hey, do you mind writing an article a biweekly article on sports, and so I started with that, trying to give the personal side of recreation and what it's meant to me. I told the story to, I started when I was 7 years old, so I'm really vested in this. And so I started back then in doing some storytelling. As it started to progress through the years, media became more of an opportunity for us to get that information out, because then it was either written word or face to face like this. And now, when you have a media opportunity to reach more people, then you have a vehicle to spread the word more globally. What I also understand is I'm just a guy that likes to talk. But there's people that, like yourself and Giovanni and this great staff that I work with, Priscilla and Alejandra and Missy and Giovanni and Bo, that know, because they're younger, and so they have the technology here, and giving them the opportunity to create a vehicle. They came to me and said, "Hey, Papa Jay, we want to go ahead and create content so we can get our information out there." A good leader says, "You know more than I do. Why don't you go ahead and run with it?" And they did. And they come up with some great comment. And from time to time, they put me in front or behind or have me act silly or whatever. I don't mind doing that. But it gets that story out there. Yeah. And they find a way to connect to the individuals that they're trying to reach. One of the sessions that Nikki Ginger and I did, a friend of mine, she works for Very Done, but we did one on social media, is people think that they need to make viral videos in order to be successful in their cities. Here's a question. Do 1 million people live in your city? Or is it 5,000 or 10,000 or 30,000? You're trying to reach a certain niche within that city, that if you get those people that play basketball and you do a great basketball video and you get an increase in participation in your program, guess what? You went viral within that niche that you're looking at. Yeah. And from time to time, like we had one where we did fishing. I love fishing. So the team over at Launch Point did a great video of our stocking. Guess what? One of those videos had, right now, I think it's over 80,000 views on that one video. And that was just us trying to get people to come out and fish in our lake. So.
Yeah. And what I'd like to do is help the Parks and Rec industry understand that it's more than just 350,000 Parks and Rec employees. Yes, it's 350,000 Parks and Rec employees globally, or excuse me, nationwide, but there's 330 million Americans that pay property tax to fund this $10 trillion collective real estate portfolio that sits under the management of all Parks and Rec departments combined. So it's a massive asset that greatly benefits and improves the lives of local communities. And so if you can create a story around one city of 5,000 people and what Parks and Rec means to them, then that's applicable to all cities at that size, and the medium-sized cities and the large cities. But somebody has to get in there and wrestle the story to the ground and create it and then boost it. And right now, at where we sit, I actually did this calculation. Our network distributes to over 23,886 people across LinkedIn, YouTube, Meta, X, Instagram, newsletters, and emails. And that's after only a year. But the distribution can go to all sports, all green spaces, all therapeutic recreation, all aquatic centers. I mean, it's just, we affect everyone in the entire country. And everybody's already paying for this. And we've already invested trillions of dollars to acquire this land, public land. And then we've got 350,000 people that are running it. And so, but when I came across it, I'm like, this is the biggest and best untold story. And we need to tell the story, and we need to have a media arm that distributes all the great stuff that y'all are doing as a community of Parks and Rec professionals. And when I saw what Bitcoin was doing, I was one of 42 media companies at one event. I'm like, I don't think Bitcoin's going to miss one of the 42 media companies, and Parks and Rec has 2 podcasters that are casually doing it. I'm like, let's take this to the next level because we certainly deserve our story to be told. And then when I ran across guys like you, I'm like, they're already telling the story. We just need to give them a megaphone and say, tell that story. Tell that yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is resources is another thing. I mean, because of and I look at the team, and I look at you and Jay and Shane and Tom and Datis and quite a few others as a team, that you guys have a resource and you guys have a platform that gives us an opportunity to boost up the information that we have, and it's the sharing of information.
Yeah.
And putting it into bite-sized pieces. What we're learning over the years is we're a microwave society, and what used to be, we used to say, okay, well, people want the information in 30 seconds. Well, now they want it in 6 seconds now. When you're doing media and those kind of things, whenever you're looking at any kind of training for social media, they say you have basically the first 2 to 5 seconds to grab to make a hook, to make it so they'll go to the very end. And so again, I'm still learning these things. I'm doing social media all the time on either my personal or professional, but I'm trying to make sure I have that hook in there so they'll go ahead and make it to the end. Now, I'm not monetizing on any of this stuff. I just love sharing stories, and tooting the horn of my team and people like yourself, and I call them the OG boys, boy band of Jay, Shane, and Tom. But just in introducing people to what they may know, but now they're able to see it. And so they'll start, you don't get to over 300 episodes. And I think they're on, like I said, Reckless is on season 5 or 6. You don't get on that by people just turning on and turning it off. You do it by having people on it that are interesting, and they say, oh, who are watching it, they go, oh yeah, that little piece is really good. I'm going to watch the next one to see my next piece. And I don't have to reinvent the wheel on how I do my sports. I just need to go ahead and tune in on the U Sports podcast to see what my next accomplishment is in my field.
Yeah. And what I'd like to do is kind of circle the wagons around all the content creators. So I would say there's probably less than 20 or 30 people that we would call official content creators, podcasters, newsletter writers, kind of stuff, that are actively doing this. But then also, of the 12,000 cities nationwide, there is somebody with the hat of marketing, communication, getting the word out, telling the story. And some of these are full-time. This is all they do, is marketing for the city of fill in the blank. And some, it's like one of the hats they wear. But we haven't really done a good job of bringing all the storytellers together and saying, what's our message? How do we get it out? And that's kind of the purpose of DPRS Media Company, is to say, let's reach out to all the communicators of this industry and start working together to get this content out there. Because, I mean, every city has somebody in charge of making the Facebook posts, making the announcements, getting people to show up at the special events. And I think we need to kind of start to collaborate as an industry around that.
I agree. And our guiding organization, NRPA, does a great job. Court and Kara and the whole team over there, at the NRPA conference, they actually had kind of like an open mic that they had a lot of people come and talk about the importance of NRPA and in our field. And they brought people to tell their stories. And I'm hoping that they're going to be putting together some stuff and getting it out there. But what they've done is given again, a platform for people to share their stories and talk about the importance of parks, recreation, and community services. You did a whole series on the essentialness of what we do, and I've been seeing more and more people in our industry talking about that, and my team talks about it a lot more too. That, yes, we have police and fire, of course, the first responders and teachers. But when those emergencies happen, telling that story about being able to be there for that child who, just lost their house, and we're the ones who are there with the care and shelter, and we make sure that there's games and things for them to do, so they're not concentrating on those negativeness, those negative situations happening. Having those kind of platforms to share that information and to actually sit there and pound our chest and, you know what, we are pretty darn good. We do some really good stuff. So
yeah, and for those who don't know, I'll go ahead and play this and get your feedback. This is one of the ones that we played for everybody at NRPA. But since we played that at NRPA, our essential services video, again, this is like a 2-minute video that we produced. It's on our YouTube channel. It's free for everyone to use. We don't copyright it at all. Let's just get the word out about why Parks and Rec is considered, or should be considered, an essential service, is an essential service. And then I'll share with you after I play it what Liddy Gutfeld and Aaron Locks and several others have been taking this, where they've taken this. Let me go ahead and play it, and then we'll come right back and get your feedback and tell a few wins around this one.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present: parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right, so Aaron Locks, one of our host for the Youth Sports Mastery, gave a talk yesterday in California in front of 250 Parks and Rec professionals, and he played that. And then Liddy Gutfeld took one that we made for why you should consider Parks and Rec as a career path in front of over 100 high school and college students that were starting their part-time work in her city for them. So it's just a way that we can kind of capture within 2 minutes why you should consider Parks and Rec as a career path, why Parks and Rec is an essential service, and now we can really reframe the conversation, and that's our starting point from there. And so it's already being used locally. And so shout out to Liddy and Aaron for taking the ball and running with it.
That's
And
funny. I was actually talking to Liddy yesterday.
Mhm.
We were talking about NRPA and life and everything like that, and it's true. And I told you when I first saw this, it was one of the it this really hits home, and then you know I'm not afraid to tell you I cried. My mom told you a story about my dad. You know, passed away in 2017. She lived in Lompoc, California. Shout out to Lompoc, where I grew up, and I lived down in you know down next to San Diego. She was living up there by herself. She was like, you know, my nickname is Tiger as well. She's like, Tiger, I don't know, you know, about. We asked her to move down. She's like, I don't know about moving down, and you know, I don't know anybody, and it's you know. I don't know if I can do it. So we actually moved her down here. She's down here in Lake Elsinore, and she goes to our senior center here. She has made so many new friends. And you want to talk about rejuvenating a woman who's raised 8 kids and lost the love of her life. And now she is one of the main, they call her Mama Skinner. You know, I
Oh,
found out about my staff from my mom rather than my own staff.
yeah,
And she goes to the lunch a bunch, and she goes to all the things that happen in the senior center. But not only that, she's also interactive on the concerts that we do. She goes to Mariachi Fest. We just this last Saturday we had our Oktoberfest, and so she's there with me and my wife Janelle and my daughter Brianna, who's her granddaughter, and my daughter's daughter, her great granddaughter, who's you know like 4 months old, and that's the first time that she saw her and since she's been born. And so recreation brings families together, and it gives people that opportunity to live.
yeah,
Honestly, it really, really does. And that that 2 minutes kind of sums up very well of we are essential service, and shows like this and podcasts like this and Reckless and those other ones that and the reels that happen it in the social media it gives a relevance for people to be able to associate with it, that increases the programming, which increases their joy in where they live.
yeah,
So
yeah,
good stuff, Craig.
yeah. And
Kudos, man. Kudos.
thank you. Yeah, and you were actually one of the guys I reached out to, and I said, "Okay, you saw what we did, essential services and career path. What's another topic?" And one of your first recommendations was just on that. It was seniors and what. So what I'd like to do is co-create something with you. We get Chris involved, and we create another 2 minutes on. I'm thinking, what does Parks and Rec mean to the seniors of our community? Not just in the senior centers. I mean, that's obviously a big like flagship because I think most Parks and Rec directors, I mean, departments have something for seniors and they have a senior physical building, senior centers. But then what are all the other ways, like in the cultural experience or the special events, or if you had to say, maybe answer that question, what does what does Parks and Rec mean to the seniors of your community? And then what does it mean to the seniors of America?
Yeah, it's for the people, the seniors in Lake Elsinore. I would say the senior center or senior programs or senior interaction
Mhm.
is life. It you know when we had COVID, it really hit the community hard, but it hit the seniors harder because when you have a senior center where you're able to go at least 5 days a week, and you're interacting with people that are going through the similar kind of things that you are,
Mhm.
gives you an opportunity to share and to grow. Um, but COVID made it so we couldn't interact. And then
Mhm.
when it did, everybody's wearing masks and those kind of things, and it made it difficult. So when we came out of COVID, it actually sparked more of our senior programming. That we have programs now that are full and have a wait list. And you know, our only problem is we don't have a big enough space, and so we're working
Yeah.
with our team to create additional spaces. But not only the senior center, but going to our concerts or going to our festivals or events, and you'll see the interaction. And intergenerational is something that we used to say a long time ago, but seeing, the seniors with their kids and grandkids and their great grandkids,
Mhm.
and recreation as a whole. My dad, I used to go fishing with my dad all the time, and now I go fishing with with my grandkids, and passing on that recreational feeling to them. And technically either a senior or senior adjacent. I'm 62 years old. So, but for me, it's that whole opportunity to interact with the community, interact with each other, and share their knowledge.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is lost. That we don't look to our seniors to go, what kind of things did you go through growing up, and how can that help our younger community deal with the various things that they have to as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's seeing programming and things in the community for seniors honestly is life.
Yeah.
It's sharing. It's that.
Let's take it one step further. So, to talk about the programming, the things that are offered for seniors by your community. And I'm thinking kind of like aquatics. Like, let's say you've got a child or a parent that wants to teach their child how to swim. And then you can say, well, here's all the things we offer for that age group when it comes to swimming or learning how to swim. So now let's take that and do the seniors version of that on any given week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What do you see communities offer someone like in their 70s, from the senior center to the programming to the services offered? Can you kind of like name the, I don't know, top 10 things that you've seen in your career that cities offer when they put their seniors hat on?
Well, a lot of it has to do with resources. Like, for instance, unfortunately, we don't have a pool in our area. A pool that we own,
Yeah.
but we do work very well with our school district. Dr. Lewis, over at the superintendent over at Lake Elsinore Unified School District, offers us summer programming. So we actually do senior aquatics during the summer,
Yeah.
and that's another program that is heavily used. What I see out on the lake a lot is I see a lot of seniors taking boats that they own and going out and enjoying the lake and fishing and teaching others how to fish. Ironically, in November, we are doing a boat tour for our seniors from the senior center out on the lake. So myself and a couple others will be taking them on a pontoon and taking them around the lake. And a lot of them, they've been living in the city for most of their lives. They've never been on the lake.
Mm.
So this is an opportunity for them to actually be on something that's in the middle of their city that they've never had that opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Our physical fitness programming, we actually have gotten grants from NRPA to do senior fitness, and we've gotten it 2 years in a row. We're applying for it again, and it's actually generated healthier seniors.
Mm.
We had this one story real quick. Is there was a guy in a wheelchair, wasn't very mobile. Through the program that we were able to start, thanks to the grant from NRPA, he now walks to the senior center from his house.
Wow.
That is showing what programming for seniors can do. Also, the socialization. I mentioned, I'm very, very proud to talk about Priscilla and Julie, who operate the senior center, and Heather and Mitzi, who work over there. The programming that they do, the socialization programmings they do, a lot of the things that we do for young adults and kids, they also do for seniors.
Yeah.
And so the art that they do over there is incredible. The interaction and social opportunities they do their own Dia de los Muertos, and they'll do their own Valentine's parties, and they'll do all these other opportunities that actually sometimes happen outside of our usual times that the senior center is open. So that
Yeah.
actually gives them opportunities to be outside of their homes and everything after hours. You know, when I say after hours, it's going to like 7 or so, but it's past the usual times of the senior center from 8 to 3. They're out there at the senior, you know, at the location there, and what they've been able to do is now they have these own social groups that they go out and do other things based on their interaction they have at the senior center.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, two little programs that I've discovered in doing the daily Parks and Rec show that I think are cool. And maybe you can mention a couple others, but one was chair yoga. And so imagine you don't have a lot of mobility, but they find a yoga instructor that will teach you how to do yoga from your chair when you're older. And the other one was we had one senior center that they would have like a day where you show up with your smartphone and they pair you with like a young kid and they show you how to download the apps and how to work the apps, the Uber app, whatever. And so now you've got somebody, you know, imagine if you're 70 and you really don't know how to work this smartphone and stuff. And so, but then you got this young kid. Sometimes it can be, I know a lot of times when I have trouble with my smartphone, I hand it to my 12-year-old and they fix it. But those are two cool things that I saw done through senior centers of really neat things that can all happen and be facilitated by the Parks and Rec departments. Are there any other cool ones like that you've discovered?
Yeah, well, actually, Priscilla and Julie and the team, they actually do Senior Olympics, and we're talking about chair volleyball, where they use just a beach ball.
Yeah.
They do Wii tournaments, you know, so they're working maybe not on their dexterity and their legs, but they're working on their eye-hand coordination and
Yeah.
everything like that. The art that they do is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned the socialization that they do, and they do a lot of trips. The team that we have over there want them not to do traditional senior stuff.
Yeah.
So they're going to plays. They're going to, you know, the kind of things that we do with our day camp. You know, they'll go to, you know, the San Diego Zoo, or they'll go to, you know, a play up in you know, just on Ontario, not too far up the road here. And so they want to make sure that the seniors who are participating are getting a taste of what maybe the younger kids would be doing as well. And I think that helps keep them young. They also have a segment, they have a great newsletter that they put together. And so they'll have some questions that they'll ask seniors, and they'll be able to answer them in there with their picture. So what that also does is they share that with their family members and go, look, like my mom would do that. Hey, Tiger, look, I'm in the newsletter again on our lunch a bunch, or these kind of things. So it helps them with their self-esteem, showing that they're being active in everything too. So again, I think one of the keys to having, for me at least, having a great senior program is having staff that really care. It's not just a job. A lot of these kids, in fact, Priscilla had a baby when she, you know, her last baby who was born. She became the granddaughter for a lot of these seniors. So they were bringing her food, and they were bringing her clothes, and they were bringing all these things. So again, having that right person in there is really important. One of the things I also I also think is important is having a good balance. So we have males that also work at the senior center as well, so they can see both, you know, the male and female interaction there is really positive as well. So those kind of things are really important, I think, with a good senior center.
Yeah, and I belong to something called the Ochsner Fitness Center, and Ochsner is a huge hospital network in South Louisiana, but they built essentially what's a fitness center for seniors, but it's open to the public, and they installed a cold plunge, a sauna, a hot tub, a steam room, and an Olympic-sized pool, and it was, I would say, 80 to 90% of the people there were over the age of 60. And the wealth of knowledge and wisdom that I had access to when I went into the cold plunge, and there's like 10 other, people in their 70s, and the conversations I would have, I was recommending to all of my young friends, I'm like, y'all need to go sit in the sauna and just talk to these people. And it's just like old wisdom just sitting there. And it's a captive audience because you're sitting there sweating or freezing in the cold plunge. And I loved it. I got addicted to it. For like 2 years, I sat out in this fitness center, and they were people there that they were retired. They had some old injury, but they were there all day, like literally 8 hours. They would just socialize, they would do their fitness, and and because it was run by a hospital, they had all the stuff to help care for the people. And then I know there's fitness centers and that are run inside of Parks and Rec facilities where it's kind of the same thing going on. So I mean, it's just to me, it's just a great work providing these facilities, and they're definitely used. If you can build it, they will definitely come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mom is 88 years old. My sister is 70 years old, and my mom could drive, but she doesn't like to drive. So my sister drives her, and she's actually over in a couple of cities over. She'll actually come and take my mom to the senior center, and they'll go to different activities over there together. And my sister, she has a PhD in psychology, so they call her Dr. Val. So they go over there, and Valerie, when she was in high school, used to dance. And so when they do like country line dancing or something like that, she'll volunteer to do those kind of things over there. And those kind of things are really encouraged by staff because it gets them active, and it helps to get the participants to participate if they see somebody else that is around their age doing those things. So
Yeah. Yeah.
very true.
All right. So as we're coming kind of towards the end, I want to shift gears into the young professionals. Of course, we have our young professional network that's I think was started almost 10 years ago by NRPA, and now we're starting to see state associations have, like YPN of Texas, YPN of California. So those are starting to pop on in their second, third, and fourth year. Some states actually don't have one yet, but they're in that organizing phase. And so I met Gabby Vera. I don't know if you know her. Run into her.
I know the Gabster. Gabby is pretty amazing. I think she's won. I think it was this year. She won it for her state, and she also won the national young professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess she's okay. I guess
Yeah. She and then she introduced me to Molly Keys on the other side of the earth, other side of America. And they're the ones that introduced me to YPN. I'm like, well, then we need to do a Friday show just on YPN. And now we have Michael Moreau, our intern, is going to be running that show for us. So I'll play the promotion for that Friday show, but YPN is really a national thing and a statewide thing that's going on real time right now. So we're just doing our part to raise awareness around all things YPN. And then I'll play that little promo about why you should consider Parks and Rec as a career path. And then I'd like to have you speak about just young professionals in general, because I know you're active in that world. So we'll play that, and then we'll finish up our conversation.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. Starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of Parks and Rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story. Every career is a choice, but few careers let you touch lives. Not once in a while, but every single day.
Step into a park on a Saturday morning. You'll hear children laughing on the soccer field, families gathering for a picnic, seniors walking the trails, finding health and friendship. And behind every smile, every memory, is a Parks and Rec professional. We don't just mow fields, we grow confidence in young athletes. We don't just build playgrounds, we create safe spaces where childhood thrives. We don't just plan events, we design moments that anchor generations. Think of the coach who teaches patience, the director who champions equity, the staff member who sees potential in a child no one else believed in. Every day, Parks and Rec professionals shape character, preserve beauty, and strengthen community. And the path isn't easy. Budgets are tight, resources stretched thin, but the reward, unmatched. Because what you give comes back in legacy, in healthier communities, in lives forever changed. So why dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation? Because here, your work never ends. It lives on, in laughter echoing across playgrounds, in green spaces preserved for the next century, in the young professionals rising to lead tomorrow. This is not just a career, it's a calling, it's a legacy, it's Parks and Recreation. A message from the Parks and Rec community.
All right. So what's your message to a group of undecided college kids that don't know what they want to do with their life? Why should they follow in your footsteps?
Well, I don't think they should follow my footsteps. I think they need to make their own path, honestly. I think they can look at some of the things that I and you and others have done and blaze a trail for themselves. You know, YPN, I remember starting hearing that when I joined the CPC for NRPA, which is the group that, you know, figures out the sessions for the national conference. And Jay Tryon, Shane Mize, Tom Venera, they were really big in YPN. I think they were maybe part of the ones who helped start it and everything. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it is a calling. It is, you know, if you're really looking for something that you know, I was talking to Lydia yesterday, we're talking about filling your cup. How do you fill your cup? Mm-hmm. And recreation, Parks and Recreation, what we do helps to fill my cup and fills other cups, because we give people the opportunity to live their best lives and be their best selves. You know, you can have a horrible day at work, but if you're able to go walk in a park and see your kids learn how to fish and actually learn STEM and all the new kind of program, and learn how to do podcasts through Parks and Recreation, you have those opportunities. We're just not the people that hand out balls and bats anymore. We never really were that, but we don't just do that anymore. We share stories. We create memories for people to pass along to the next generation. So if you are a young professional that are looking for something to fulfill yourself, to fill your cup on a daily basis, this field, Parks, Recreation, Community Services, is really where you need to be. And we would love to have you be part of this great profession called Parks, Recreation, and Community Services.
Yeah. Yeah, and really every state association, NRPA, they all offer something for interns to just attend some of these. So that's a great way to get exposure to the industry. I think there's no better way than attending one of the state associations across the country. I think there's like 70 annual events nationwide that go on every year. So there's definitely something happening that you can attend. All right. So my question for you today, which is a tradition we do. I don't know if you know Rosalind Johnson by any chance, Baltimore, County, Maryland.
Oh my goodness, I might know her. I might know her.
Her and Shonda Smith over in Mobile.
Shonda.
They're they're partners in crime, and we are helping them to produce a monthly podcast. Actually, they're threatening to go weekly, and it's called Providence, and it's about encouraging Black women to take the opportunity and try to pursue leadership in Parks and Rec. She told me of the 12,000 cities, there's only about 30 that are Black females, and they're two of them. So, and so we actually created two already. So we're getting ready to create our third this week. And matter of fact, today's Thursday. I think we're creating one today. So this will be episode 3 for them. But her question for you is, why did you choose to go down this path in Parks and Rec industry? So it kind of dovetails with the question of why she consider it, but more personal on your personal level. Why did you consider to go down this path?
Oh, so that was her question to me?
That was her question. So I asked my guest to leave a question to my next
Right.
guest.
Okay. So their question to me is, why did I choose this path? And you know, in all the stories I tell you, that it goes back to my parents. My dad was in the Air Force. My mom worked at the local hospital. I got to see how compassion and caring for people can help change lives. Didn't want to be a doctor, and I wasn't really in thinking about the military, but I was always thinking about giving back to my community. So that's why I started in this as a kid, as a volunteer, as a junior CIT, which is a counselor in training, at 7 years old. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. And it was just the opportunity to give back, even as a kid, helping those young ones, you know, the younger ones and even the older ones, learn the importance of what we do, recreation. And I knew that at 7 years old I want to do, and I'm still doing it here at 62. So,
man, that's a early in life to receive that calling and then to follow it through all the way to in your 60s. So that's an awesome journey. Okay. So what question do you want to leave my next guest?
Your next guest. Out of all the programs and events or whatever they have done that people thought would be a failure, how were they able to make it a success and change people's minds?
Of all the programs and events that people thought would be a failure, what was that last part?
How did you change that to be a success and change people's minds?
Change that.
You know, we have so many people that want to be negative about some of the things we do, and then when something's successful, they go, you know what? I was actually wrong. You actually made a difference in people's lives. So, an example of that.
Yeah, and it really does take a visionary to see the end result. And it reminds me of the old Henry Ford quote when he said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Oh, I'm gonna have to write that one down.
Yeah, that was an old Henry Ford quote. And he just knew that what he was making was no one else was going to be able to see because they had never seen it before. And that's just the path and journey of a visionary that sees what the community needs before they see it, and then just builds it, even though everybody around them saying this is never going to work, it's never been done before. And I think Parks and Rec is really good about even stealing an idea that's working well in Baltimore and saying, yeah, we want to bring that over to California, even though it's never been done before. And so Parks and Rec is so good about sharing and collaborating and giving ideas away that they've vetted.
Yeah, we don't call it stealing here. We call it creatively acquiring.
That's it.
Yeah, we don't steal. We creatively acquire. And again, it goes back to, you know, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to take somebody else's wheel and change the tires on them, and it, you know,
that's it,
to fit into your agency. So
yeah, make it your own.
Yeah.
Well, Johnathan, thank you so much for coming on. My first ever third-time guest on the show. You're like, I'm sure Liddy's going to be jealous. She needs to come on again.
Oh my God, I'm gonna actually text her after this. I'm gonna say, hey Lydia, I was on with Craig, and I'm a 3-timer. I'm
Yeah.
getting a mug. I don't know about you, so.
We're gonna give all of our 3-timers a mug, and then we're gonna have to kick it up to the 4th timer.
No, we have to make it to 5 time.
That's it.
Make it. That's the goal. I mean, I already hit that. I mean,
That's it. You're
I'm,
there.
I'm I'm setting records right now. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's what people do out in California. They're always I love my California network. They are, like, literally the first person to volunteer to jump off the cliff and bring everybody else with them and experiment. It's such a great culture
Hey,
y'all have.
you don't know until you try.
That's right. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on the show again today. I appreciate you, and we will be. I'm sure you may already know this, but California is rolling out the red carpet for us. We are going to attend y'all's annual convention, and everything you saw us do at NRPA, we're going to do that plus more as we by the time we get there. I think is it in
It's in
March?
March. It's in
March.
March. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got
Yeah.
like
So
5 months of momentum that will be hitting y'all in addition to everything we got going now.
that's awesome. I might see if I can stop by. I actually have some other. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make this one, but I don't know if Craig's going to be there. I might have to stop by.
Yeah, you gotta come by and say hello, and, that'll be your 4th show. That's it.
Oh,
You
there you go. On
you
my
lead
way to
us
number 5.
That's right, that's right. Alright, man, I appreciate you, and, thank you for all you do for Parks and Rec in your community, and keep going.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
You too. Bye. Alright, so that was another great episode with Johnathan Skinner, one of the I would officially call him a content creator for the industry. He just is a very natural at that, and if you haven't seen some of his little shorts that he's producing for his local Parks and Rec department, plus he's been super active in NRPA, in California Parks and Rec. He's been at this for decades, really dedicated his life to it, and I think one of the great shining examples that we have in Parks and Rec of what can be done when you dedicate your life to something like Parks and Recreation, what it does for him, what it does for his community. I just think these are the stories and the people we want to highlight and lift up as to this is what Parks and Rec can do, both for an individual when you dedicate your life to that, but then also what that means to his community. So I really appreciate Johnathan coming on again. And for those listening about senior centers, Johnathan, I'm going to pair him and Chris, one of our very talented video editors, to create another 2-minute little commercial for the industry, but with the topic of what Parks and Rec means to our seniors and our community. So I think that's going to be really cool. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that together in the next 30 days and release that. All right, so we're coming up close to November. First week of November is going to be the Georgia Parks and Rec Association in Jekyll Island. We will be attending that officially. We won't have our regular programming of leadership series and YPN and all that kind of stuff. We will be doing, actually, I think YPN might do because that's going to be on that Friday. Everything you saw us do with NRPA, we're going to do from Georgia. And Georgia is just an amazing state. Of course, we've got Henry County, Georgia, that we partner with to create the monthly show called The Rec Room. And so they are just like a force of nature over there. Shout out to Jonathan Penn, Thomas White, Brian Dixon. Gosh, the whole team over there is just amazing. So they're helping us to really fill those show times and show slots. And we're working closely with their executive directors. So that's going to be our first week in November. We go straight from there to Kentucky and repeat, do the same thing for the Kentucky Parks and Rec Association. And actually, Kentucky was the first state association that invited us to cover their last year to cover their convention. And so this will be the second time we've done that with them. And then we've also done this from Louisiana when we were super young, trying to figure out who we were and what we were doing. So on the third week of November, we'll be doing Louisiana. So November is going to be a jam-packed month with Georgia, Kentucky, and Louisiana state associations being the first part of that month. And I think we'll be doing about 30 shows from each. So we'll have 90 shows coming out of the first 3 weeks of November. So it's going to be, I think we'll crush 100 episodes just in November. And then we'll probably take somewhat of a break in December and just go back to regular programming. And then we've got a January convention, I think California in March. And so we're kind of filling out, what does the Daily Parks and Rec show mean? Who are we when we attend live shows? What's the setup? What's the hardware setup, the software stack? How do we capture what it what a state association does at their annual events, and try to just raise awareness of all things Parks and Rec at the state association annual event level, and try to fill out what is our role as a media company that attends these and just kind of amplifies the message that you see. And if you haven't been to a state association, you really should. A state association annual event, you should really try to get out there, even if just to visit for a day. And then if you're a college intern looking to get exposure to the industry, there's really no better place than to attend one of these. If you can attend one of the big ones, I know Illinois puts on a great one. California, Texas, Florida, like a lot of the big states put on really good annual events that have thousands of people in attendance. And then, of course, if you can make NRPA in Orlando, that's just a huge event. And then we've got the one in Philadelphia coming up, which we'll be attending that as well. So definitely get out to there. Now, if you are a college intern in broadcast journalism, marketing, or in Parks and Rec and would like to do a semester interning with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we will teach you how we create media so that you'll be able to leave your internship knowing all the hardware, all the software, all the editing tools, how to interview, how to stage presence, how to recruit guests, how to do phone call interviews, preparing for them to come onto the show, how to actually run a show. And then on the back end of that, we'll teach you how to edit the shows and prepare them for wider distribution. And then how to just once you capture that content, edit that content, but then how to distribute that content across all the social media platforms. And they're all just a little bit different, how you distribute content on TikTok versus YouTube versus Instagram versus Meta and LinkedIn and X. They all kind of have their own little variation. And whether it's short or long form like we do. And then we even have a newsletter so that if, let's say, your medium of creating media is the written word, we work with a couple of newsletters, plus we have our own newsletter. So you could get exposure to all of that in doing a semester with us. And so shout out to Michael Moreau. He is our first intern with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Talked with him on Monday. He helped me host a show on Wednesday. And then Friday, this coming Friday, tomorrow, I'm interviewing him on the Young Professionals Network. And then he'll, from that point, take it over as the host and help really build out our Young Professionals Network Friday show. So a lot of great stuff happening. And I'm looking to create a little coffee mug that I can send out to my guests and stuff as just a thank you. And I did want to promote this. Now, I just got this magazine. This is PRB magazine. One of my directors said, "Hey, it's a really cool magazine that we subscribe to." And so I just ordered, I think it's a monthly publication, and it's just got a bunch of really cool articles in Parks and Rec, very well put together. I think it's mostly in California. And then I know NRPA puts out a magazine. So I'd like to try to find out, if y'all don't mind, sending me what are the publications, the newsletters, the magazines focused on Parks and Rec, and I'd like to kind of highlight who they are, what they are. I don't know if there's like 5 of these magazines nationwide, or if there's 10 or 100. I'm assuming there's probably like 4 or 5, this being one of them. I know NRPA puts out a magazine as well that goes out monthly, but is there a third one or a fourth one? Maybe some of the big states put out some. But I would just like to know who you are, what you do, and then kind of just to promote, hey, we really should be supporting and promoting our publications, our newsletters, our magazines, in addition to our podcasts, our media companies, our YouTube channels that are all focused on parks and recreation. Let's try to just raise awareness of who they are, what they do, how you can sign up. But this is a good one. This is my first issue that came in, PRB magazine. Great job. This is the October 2025 edition. They also have some really good vendors in here. They have some great stories. Yeah, so I just read my first one. So shout out to PRB magazine. You did a great job with the October edition. So I can't wait to I signed up for a year. So I should be getting 12 more or 11 more magazines all on Parks and Rec. I probably need to sign up for the NRPA one and read through that one as well. And then also, if you have written an article, a 500, 1,000 word article around the topic of Parks and Rec or what it's doing in your community, please reach out to me. We'd love to highlight your article in our weekly newsletter, just to kind of raise awareness around what y'all are doing and what the writers of the community, the articles that they're producing. We want to give that as much attention as possible. All right, so I need to kind of close it out because I've got in 15 minutes the Youth Sports Mastery Show every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, with host Aaron Locks with the National Academy of Athletics, 40 years in the industry. He does an amazing job of bringing in some of the greatest coaches, athletic directors, referees, officiators around Parks and Rec, youth sports, and just a very talented man, and has been doing youth sports for 40 years and has some of the best coaching networks that I've ever seen. And then also, I guess one other announcement is we're working now with Her Sports, Lisa, and Jordan Ziff, who is a former pro soccer athlete, and she played in, or was it? Was it New Zealand? I think it was New Zealand, Puerto Rico, and then Brazil. Played at pretty much the highest level. And now they have a newsletter, and we're helping them to create video content like we do here, but all about females in sports, because I think that's just a topic that they discovered is just not getting enough coverage, and what it means to be a pro athlete as a female. So that's another show that we're helping to co-create. And then, as I mentioned before, Rosalind Johnson and Shonda Smith are creating a monthly, threatening to go weekly, on a show called Providence. And this is just encouraging Black women to take, if there's an opportunity for you to step up into leadership, but to do it. And then there's a very small network of people. I think she said like only 30 Parks and Rec directors nationwide are Black females. So it really is just kind of encouraging them to go for it, and that you're not alone. I think Shonda and Rosalind are two great examples of phenomenal leaders that have stepped up to the plate, taken leadership, and really doing such a great job. So really excited to help them co-create. Oh, and then how can I not mention Dave Ramirez and Outdoor Link are now helping us to launch and create a Smart Cities in Parks and Rec show. That's going to be a weekly show. So that's coming. That's being cooked up in the kitchen, and we got a lot of other great stuff planned for this next year. So thank you to everyone. I'm going to go ahead and play our 300th episode. Thank you again to close out the show. And I will see y'all here, or Aaron Locks will see you here with another episode of the Youth Sports Mastery Show coming up in a few minutes. That's every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. See y'all there in a bit. Thank you guys, and love you. And thank you so much for helping us get to 300th episode. Thanks a lot. Bye.
300 episodes. What started as a small idea, a way to share stories from the Parks and Recreation community, has grown into something truly special. From heartfelt conversations to behind-the-scenes stories that celebrate everyday heroes. Every episode, every message, every listen has been powered by you. To our loyal listeners, our partners, and every Parks and Rec professional who continues to inspire us, thank you. You've helped us grow, you've helped us evolve, and you've reminded us why we do this, to tell stories that matter. This milestone isn't just ours, it's yours too. As we celebrate our 300th episode, we look ahead to the next chapter. More stories, more community, more impact. From all of us here at DPRS Media Company, thank you for believing in us, for tuning in, and for helping us make it this far. Here's to the next 300 episodes and beyond.
At DPRS Media Co, we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post,
We're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.